American public transit, specifically the subway system, is lacking. I'm not talking about big sprawling metro cities like Austin or Los Angeles. I'm also including the likes of Boston, New York, Philadelphia, and others. Years back, I lived in the Dorchester neighborhood in Boston, Massachusetts. Affordable at the time, and close to public transit. Specifically, it was close to a Red Line stop, a part of the MBTA network. The ride to downtown Boston was pretty simple and took only 20 minutes. For a time, it was an ideal place to live as long as I worked in downtown Boston. For one of my jobs, I worked in Jackson Square. I lived near JFK, UMass, so one of the only ways to get there without a car is to take the train downtown and then back out to Jackson Square. Otherwise, the other option is the bus. At the time when I was doing this commute, I didn't care for it since the bus never ran on time and it would always get stuck in traffic. I thought the whole experience was a necessary evil. It wasn't until I traveled to a couple of European cities and other American cities I began to notice a pattern. Many of the European cities are shaped like a spider web, with some exceptions, like Stockholm. The idea being you can go across a city with one or two transfers. It makes getting to work or meeting a friend for drinks very simple. This was my recent experience in Paris. We stayed roughly around here. With just a 5-minute walk, we had access to several different metro lines. When we used it to get around the city, we tended to only have to transfer once. Honestly, the city was so walkable that most of the time, if it was within 20 minutes, we would just walk to our final destination. It is the same in London, Madrid, and Berlin with its subway designs, and so on. America, however, prioritized middle-class people taking subways and trams to downtown and then back out to their houses. The only way between different subway lines is generally by bus, which is slow and unreliable thanks to car dependence in the US. All because the road is filled with cars that people drive because public transit is unreliable, a classic catch-22. I realize in many newer American cities the only options are by bus or car. In many other places, it is just a car. But older cities that built these subway systems have no excuse as to why they shouldn't expand and provide an interconnection. Tramlines are certainly an option. Those do not require expensive digging of tunnels and can be built faster. And a real-life example, even despite the high cost, New York City is building an interconnection that would go from Brooklyn to Queens and maybe beyond. That alone would change how New Yorkers get around the city for work and leisure and reduce car and bus dependency. Ultimately, cities old and new must provide a way for large swaths of people to get around within their city. We've seen a couple promises here and there around the country, but ultimately, it's necessary. It would cut down on commute time, emissions, and maybe the best reason of all, it would make the average American less stressed.